This is Garis, Masculist, MGTOW flyers. That is 2-3 page essays on the themes of masculism and MGTOW, written by and read aloud by Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. This is flyer number 527, part 3, entitled Agenda Items for Politicians in the Masculist Half of Parliamentary GECs, that's GECs, Gender Equality Committees. Came straight on. Bullet. Legislate the OPTAB, that's OPTAB, that's obligatory paternity testing at birth. One of the most abusive gender crimes that women commit against men is paternity fraud. Imagine the level of callousness of a woman who lies to her husband that the kid growing in her is his when she knows full well that it isn't. She thus forces him into decades of work on his part to pay for a kid that is not even his. To combat this major gender crime that millions of women commit against men, the masculist politicians in the GECs need to legislate the OPTAB, OPTAB, obligatory paternity testing at birth for all births, so the father can not only use the para to reject paying for a kid that is not his, but he can also send her to jail for committing paternity fraud if he can make the legal case proving that that is what happened. As technology advances, perhaps this non-paternity of the kid growing in his wife's womb can be determined. Then he can use the para and prosecute his wife earlier, that is, before the birth. The traditional view of the man as the cash machine to pay for women to have babies is utterly rejected by the masculists, who in time will be most men. So the masculist politicians in the GECs will have to listen to them or be voted out of power. Young women are told by masculists that if they don't vote with men for the men fairing of the gender laws, then young men will refuse to give them their sperm, causing these young women to be babyless, unable to have kids with quality men, since it is the quality men who are the most masculist, since their superior intelligence allows them to absorb masculist ideas and principles faster than average Joes. Bullet. Promote men's studies courses at universities. Women have women's studies courses at university. Masculists claim that women oppress men worse than vice versa. So to be fair, men need men's studies courses at universities. So the masculist politicians in the GECs need to provide salary money to men's studies professors at universities to teach young men masculist ideas, so that young men can put well-informed moral pressure on young fluffies to get off their fat parasitic asses and fip up and stop manslaving a man, or be forced to die slowly, rotting on the shelf, rejected by nearly all men, and certainly by the quality men whom women really want to mate with, given their hypergamous natures. Bullet. Fund national masculist organizations. In the US, the feminists have their NOW, N-O-W, National Organization for Women. Men need something similar to push for the creation of a FIP society, for the fipping of women, to set up the GECs, to eliminate fluffies, etc. Governments spend a lot of money today on women's issues. The same needs to be done with men. Those women, those sexist, hypocritical, misandrous women who object to this will have their fucking heads bitten off by very angry, hateful masculists until no such woman is stupid enough to object. Bullet. Encourage the creation of masculist publishers. The feminists have lots of publishing houses. Men need the same for similar reasons, so that millions more men can have their masculist consciousnesses raised, made more aware how women oppress men, and worse than vice versa. So masculist books need to be published to meet this masculist educational need. Masculist GEC politicians can help this process by giving grants to Masculist publishers to help them publish Masculist books. Bullet. Fund speakers to teach Masculism in the high schools. Most of the fluffy crapper damage is done in the high schools, when 16-year-old girls choose to study fluffy crap majors that will make them fluffies as adults. So speakers really need to be sent to the high schools in large numbers to persuade young men not to socialise with fluffy women, and to persuade young women to be fips or be socially and sexually rejected by their male classmates for being a future man-slaver and hence hated. Masculist GECs will need to spend a lot of money sending out Masculist speakers to millions of high schools to educate young people of the importance of fipping up or paying a very heavy price of not getting a man and being spat at. Bullet. Publicise Masculist protests in the media. The Masculist GECs need to promote publicity regarding Masculist ideas with the aim of educating the public into Masculist issues. Masculist GECs can encourage the media to cover Masculist protests, etc., so that the ideas behind these protests are presented to the general public, the millions, so that Masculist ideas become widely known, making the creation of a FIP society easier. The above 10 Masculist agenda items are just scratching the surface of what needs to be done to create a FIP society, a society fit for Masculists to live in, so that they feel comfortable enough that they no longer feel the need to be Masculists, that Masculist issues have largely been solved. Since we are far from that idyllic state, we Masculists need to see that the Masculist GECs do their job by implementing the above Masculist agenda items, plus many others. Cheers. Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. Email profhugodegaris@yahoo.com. Website profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. Author of the book Masculism, Men's Rebellion Against Being Man-Slaves to Women, an e-textbook of 520 plus Masculist flyers for men's studies courses, freely downloadable in Microsoft Word format from my website. Ciao.